Well, my YouTube friends, it's been a while since I talked about that stinky cryptocurrency. It's a coin you can smell from a mile away because it reeks like none other in the crypto space.
Uh-oh, stinky, stinky, stinky.
So the big question is, can you smell what Sergey is cooking? We'll take a big whiff because it's time for chicocrypto. If you can't tell from that Sergey hint, the crypto that stinks like none other is the decentralized oracle solution Stinky Link, also known as Chainlink. Now, I've probably been the longest supporter of Chainlink out of any crypto YouTuber, September of 2017, all the way back during the last crypto cycle bull run. Just a couple of months after I started my channel, I made my first video on Chainlink, breaking it down. Please don't go watch that video. It's embarrassing how bad I was at presenting content compared to today. But since it's been almost 4 years since that video, it's time to bring the heat with Chainlink once again, as there is some big news floating around. If you haven't noticed lately, I've been talking a lot about Unibright and their connection to enterprises such as Microsoft. And that connection comes through the Baseline protocol and their base ledger offering, which is in collaboration with Provide. In early October, there is a major blockchain event, ETH Atlanta, which is the Ethereum event for enterprise. And this is put on by Provide, Baseline, and the Base Ledger. And as we can see, Unibright founders Martin and Stefan are presenting the Base Ledger and Provide Bright showcase. But then scrolling down, we can see York Rhodes, the co-founder of blockchain at Microsoft, is also presenting, as well as some other big enterprise names from Kona Coca-Cola, Consensus, Splunk, ServiceNow, and even Ernst & Young. But no Chainlink. Why no Stinky Link? Well, if you didn't know, Chainlink is one of the 14 founding organizations of the Baseline protocol, which also included AMD, Ernst & Young, Consensus, MakerDAO, Microsoft, Splunk, and of course, Unibright and Provide. So is Chainlink not involved with the Baseline protocol or the base ledger offering from Provide and Unibright? Well, no, my friends, you gotta look further than just the surface level. So let's go deep. It was announced last year that Provide and Chainlink would be partnering and collaborating to make a new easy button for enterprise smart contract oracles. From the blog, Provide Technologies and Chainlink announced a new collaboration today that will integrate Chainlink into the Provide API, offering enterprises a low-code framework for building with Chainlink. This will allow developers to, number 1, access Chainlink data feeds by the way of the Provide API. Number 2, enable simple turnkey deployment of Chainlink nodes into your own infrastructure. And finally, number 3, it will allow enterprises to consume premium Chainlink data without needing to acquire or hold cryptocurrency to interact with the network. It then says, in addition, this integration further positions Chainlink as the de facto standard for smart contract oracles within enterprise business process automation by the way of the Baseline protocol. Chainlink is the de facto oracle standard for the Baseline protocol, and Chainlink was being integrated into the Provide API. So can we confirm that? Well, going to Provide documentation and to the Oracle section, it talks of the easy button mentioned in the Chainlink collab blog. It says, Provide is the easy button for consuming real-world data which has been oracleized on-chain, i.e. written to a smart contract, after consensus has been reached by a set of independently operated nodes, oracles. Provide supports Chainlink decentralized oracle networks, which consist of security-reviewed, Sybil-resistant, and fully independent nodes which are operated by leading blockchain DevOps and security teams. So, Provide and Chainlink have created the Enterprise Easy button for Oracle solutions in enterprise. Well, now let's jump into the Base Ledger white paper. It says, the Provide framework streamlines the effort coming out of traditional enterprise consulting services in collaboration with the customer's business processes and domain knowledge. Visually designed domain models are then transformed into code-generated artifacts, such as smart contracts, oracles, and zero-knowledge circuits. The Provide stack, which of course includes Chainlink oracles, serves as a protocol and cloud-agnostic reference implementation for the baseline protocol, and this same flexibility makes it well-suited to play a significant role within the first reference implementation of Base Ledger. Obviously, Chainlink is involved with the baseline protocol, Provide, and Base Ledger. Chainlink will be at ETH Atlanta, they just aren't presenting as of yet. But this involvement goes so much deeper than most people realize, and it has everything to do with Microsoft. So if you didn't know, Microsoft's suite of tools are getting blockchain and baselined. From baseline protocol documentation, we can see Microsoft Dynamics is already integrated. And the baseline is also integrating with Microsoft Excel. Just last month, in the middle of July, John Wolpert tweeted about it, and it was showcased during their office hours, how spreadsheets and business data can be baselined. And by the way, I'll be joining those office hours for the baseline protocol this Wednesday, September 1st. Mark your calendars, you don't want to miss it. But Dynamics, Excel is baselined, but what's missing? A big piece of the Office suite, Microsoft Word. And guess who is involved with getting that piece of Microsoft to the blockchain? Chainlink is. Last year, Aaron Wright, co-founder of OpenLaw, the smart contract legal contracts company, spoke on a Chainlink broadcast, and this is what he said.
We've actually built a what you can think of as like a MetaMask for the Microsoft Office suite, where the 1.2 billion Microsoft Office ecosystem users will actually be able, from Microsoft Word, to interact with Chainlink oracles and execute smart contracts and automate the legal agreements with them too. So some really, really cool stuff that's coming out of our team.
The MetaMask for Microsoft Office. Oracles can communicate with Microsoft Word, and smart contracts can be built from them. Even legal contracts spun up on Word by a lawyer. Although there is much more to this Microsoft rabbit hole goes deep, so let's dig ourselves a big old hole for this stink leak. April of 2019, Microsoft announced the Token Taxonomy Framework, a way to standardize tokens and their creation by creating a set of commonly agreed upon standards for each token type. As we can see from the initial blog of its announcement, Marley Gray of Microsoft was the author. Now, Marley Gray is a principal architect for Microsoft, who has been with them for over 21 years. He's been directing blockchain business development, but also more, which we will get into in a second. Now, just over 1 year later, the Interwork Alliance was created. This was a global enterprise alliance whose goal was to standardize token-powered ecosystems worldwide. And this was going to be accomplished in part with something called the IWA Interwork Alliance Token Taxonomy Framework. Doesn't that sound familiar, like the framework Microsoft announced in 2019? Well, they tie together as Microsoft is the #1 sponsoring member of the Interwork Alliance. And if we go to the board of directors, guess who is sitting right there? Marley Gray of Microsoft. And now, switching back to the founding members of the IWA, Chainlink is listed as a #1 principal member. So I wonder how close the Chainlink Microsoft connections are. Is there just a connection through this alliance? So hell no, it's way closer and tighter than most people realize. So let's realize it. And I gotta thank a Linky Leaks on Twitter for finding this one. They tweeted, "New Microsoft patent with town crier in the references, #Chainlink, with a source to the patent and picture proof." And give Linky Leaks a follow, by the way, they are legit and their profile is down in the description. But now diving into the patent, we can see that it's for a ledger independent token service. It's from Microsoft and one of the inventors is Marley Gray. In the abstract it says, a computer system executing the service can receive from a user a request to create a token on a distributed ledger network. The computer system can further provide to the user one or more token templates, which each token template corresponds to a type of physical or digital asset and defines a set of one or more attributes and one or more control functions associated with the type. It sounds like this uses the token taxonomy frameworks to assign attributes to tokens. But how does this tie into Chainlink? Well, a few ways, and it has everything to do with the references. First, down in the references, like LinkyLeak said, Town Crier is referenced as helping create this patent. And if you didn't know, Town Crier, the hardware-based Oracle system, was acquired by Chainlink in November of 2018. One connection down, many more to go. Also in the references for the patent, there's Marley Gray and something called Bletchley 3 times. Also referenced is another patent submitted in late 2018 by Marley Gray. And clicking into that, it's for something called a cryptlet smart contract. Now going to Marley Gray's LinkedIn, it says this in his most recent job description for Microsoft. Move from driving the business development strategy for blockchain at Microsoft to building out my baby, Project Bletchley. I am driving the architecture for distributed ledger application fabric for use with blockchains like Ethereum, Sawtooth, etc. Now let's just play this historical clip from 2017 from the Flan Man himself, Sergey.
The two folks that we're working with and that we feel are closest to making this a reality are the folks at Cornell's IC3 initiative with something called Town Crier. And we're very glad to be working with them and seeing how we can help and try and get some kind of HSM-based smart oracle. And then likewise, we're also working with Microsoft on their Bletchley offering, specifically in this piece of their Bletchley offering, something called cryptlets, where it's kind of supposed to offer this feature. And so these are the two paths that we're pursuing to hopefully offer this kind of this added level of attestation to what's going on in the Oracle, along with all these other Oracle features that I've just described.
Town Crier was referenced by Sergey. Marley Gray's baby Bletchley is highlighted, and the patent submitted by Mr. Gray in 2018, cryptlets, the smart contracts, are also mentioned. Do you get it? Because we do, and it's why we like to get so freaking stinky. Cheers. I'll see you next time.